Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hi, this is Zach Meir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here on Share Talk, sponsored by the UK Investor Show on Friday, the 7th of February. Starting off with Barron Oil, which was covered yesterday. I think it was around the 0.18 level, something like that. Currently at 0.51 and in a rising trend channel, which could head up towards 0.8 as a best case scenario. Obviously, that might take, well, I suppose the current rate of progress might just take a day, but normally one would be looking for a week or two at least on such a situation. But otherwise, that target valid while there's no end-of-day close back below that old March peak, which was 0.43p. So not a bad risk-reward, even if you're entering the fray now, although I suppose you're going to be pretty brave to do so, knowing that the stock has come out from a 0.18 pence breakout just yesterday. On to the next scenario, which is Senkos. It's not a stock I've ever covered here before, which is saying a lot, but looks like we've got a symmetrical triangle breakout there from December. The level in question around, 58 pence. While we're above that, looking for a top of August trend channel target as high as 90 pence. Difficult to see what would drive such a target, but anyway, that's what the chart says, and probably valid while we hold above, I suppose, the 55 pence level. The middle of that triangle is probably a fair stop loss, whether physically in place or just on an end-of-day close basis. Next stock is one that I've been willing to go up just because it is normally quite an exciting situation. It's taken a long time to get out of that the pullback from the July-August peak, which was July-August rally rather, which was spectacular. We dare to dream of another situation like that now. There is some evidence that it might happen in the sense that we've got the 200-day moving average just starting to rise, and the last cross for the between the 50-day and 200-day moving average, the 50-day line was crossing through a rising 200-day line. That means we could be in the run-up to a golden cross buy signal, and of course a golden cross buy signal is normally, or the run-up to one is normally the strongest part in the technical cycle. So there is a chance while above 0.02 that Europa Metals might at least retest the 0.035 pence area over the next few weeks. Stock which I see everywhere on Twitter being talked about and has been for the last couple of days, but I just wanted to, I suppose, give the stock a chance to rally a little bit just to prove its mettle. Current situation with Escape Hunt rather is that we've basically, almost gapped up through the 50-day moving average there at 16 pence. While we're above that, the best guess as far as the upside is concerned is the top of this rather creative trend channel from November up towards 32 pence. Stop loss obviously back below the 50-day line on that situation. Metal Tiger, always a stock which is in favor with the retail investor, and it looks as though it's done enough today to at least flash up some interest for the bull argument. That would be on the basis of a line break there, resistance line there from October broken there, and also obviously the 50 and 200-day moving averages at 1.28 pence as well. So at least while we're above the moving averages rather, looking for some upside here, probably up towards, looks as though we'll head up towards the 1.8 area initially. That would be the top of a rising trend channel from November. Actually, I'm sorry, from August with a support line from November, and that could be hit over the next week or two, especially if we get a decent end-of-day close above that October resistance line at 1.35 today. Don't want the stock to fizzle out any more than it has. One of the big stocks of the past week has been this one, which is Novosit. Covered the stock initially around 16 pence, I think, last week, and stock obviously had its first burst towards 50 pence very soon after. Had a sort of quite a painful retracement back to 30 pence, but the view at the moment is that at least while we're above 40, which is the broken resistance line from some months back, the shares could go back and hit the best levels of the recent past, which is basically back towards the 70 pence area last seen at the beginning of 2018. So above 40 up to 70, which is I think what I said before, but obviously we dipped down to 30, so another chance there for the bulls to get involved. Another new stock for the Bulletin Board Heroes is PCF Group, a company which I'd never heard of before, which is quite an achievement because I've heard of almost every single company in this small cap space. Situation here is that we've broken out of this falling trend channel from the end of October. We could now be in a rising trend channel heading towards the 45 pence area, and that's valid while there's no end of day close back below the 50-day moving average, currently just below 35 pence. At this stage, only really back below the 200-day line at 31.5 pence would be outright bearish for the situation, but very encouraged by the gap through the 50-day line, which is the big buy signal for that stock. On to a stock which most of you will be familiar with, Tower Resources. Nice bounce off the 50-day moving average over recent days, multiple tests of the 50-day line, which tends to be a good buy signal. It was a good buy signal for Eurasia last week. The view is that having broken that January resistance line, normally around the 0.48 pence area, should be heading up to the top of a rising trend channel from September, heading towards the 0.85, 0.9 pence area over the next few weeks. This stage, only back below the 50-day line, as I said, would be an outright negative for this particular situation, and a good bounce for the RSI back above neutral 50. Finishing off with one of stocks which is finishing off the week with a flourish, and it's Velocys. We had that symmetrical triangle break at the beginning of the week, and heading towards the 5 pence level, and perhaps more, given the way that we're seeing such a strong push to the upside. Next target there would obviously be towards early or mid 2018 resistance in the 6 to 7 pence area. That's it from me today. More updates on Monday.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.